So nice to see all of you here. And we're going to get started with our presentation, which, as Carly mentioned, will be our final presentation for the week on voice dictation, specifically on computers and phones. And we're going to be going over a guide to some programs that can allow you to enable voice dictation features and tools. So to start off with an overview of what we'll be covering today, we're going to talk about what dictation is, then move on to how to use Google Docs dictation, which is specific to the Google Docs platform. Then similarly, we're going to discuss Microsoft Word dictation, then how to enable dictation from computer settings, both Mac and PC devices, then dictation on mobile devices such as iPhones and Androids, and also Gboard dictation. And then I'm also going to go through a live demonstration on my Mac of how to enable the feature and then also how to use it. So voice dictation is an assistive technology tool which helps anyone who has difficulty typing. Using this technology will allow the user to write words by simply speaking them out loud and saying what they want to be typed out. Dictation is also sometimes known as speech-to-text or also voice recognition software. So these are all the same kind of platforms or tools that you can use. The first official example of this type of voice dictation software was from the Bell Laboratories in the 1950s, and the system was called Audrey. It was the first of its kind, and Audrey worked with numbers, and it was able to recognize only 9 digits spoken by a singular voice. But today, things have really changed and evolved since Audrey, and many different softwares are able to use this voice-to-text tool, and it has become much easier for people to access from a wide range of devices. So it's a lot more accessible now. And of course, there are some positives and negatives of this tool. So to start off with the pros, it allows you to do hands-free typing, which can be super helpful to people with a range of abilities or who may have trouble typing. Longer bodies of text can also be typed out quite quickly because the software can rapidly pick up on voices. So if your hands are tired from typing, you can simply talk at a faster pace and it will type it all out for you. It can also allow those who struggle to type or who can't type to have another option, and it really opens up the doors to communication and navigation of different devices for those with different abilities. Though there are a few cons as well, sometimes the software doesn't always pick up your voice accurately. And an example of this would be that it has a lot of typos, as it may misinterpret what you are trying to say. Also, using voice commands for punctuation or other controls, such as emojis, can be very difficult and cause some issues. And also, sometimes the software you are using won't allow you to speak in a certain language or may not respond well if you have a strong accent. So just be aware that you may have to really pronounce each and every word, and don't get too frustrated if there are some mistakes. I know it can be difficult if you're not able to type and go back and fix them, but for sure, it's a helpful tool. There are some flaws, but it's definitely something that you can think about using. So now moving on to the next segment of the presentation, Google Docs and voice dictation software. Google Docs has an easy to follow method for using this text-to-speech tool. There are 3 steps. Firstly, you want to check if your microphone works and is usable. Next, you will have to open a document with Google Docs, and you can do this by going into your Chrome web browser. And then once you're inside of the Google Docs, you go to the Tools menu from the bar at the top. So if you look to your Google document, there are lots of different drop-down menus, such as File, Edit, View, Insert, Format, and then Tools. So this is the section you're looking for. You want to be under Tools. And then for the next few steps, once you're in the Tools tab, you want to select Voice Typing. So you can see here with this screenshot, the first step is to go to Tools, and then secondly, click on Voice Typing. From there, you want to click on the microphone icon when you are ready to speak, and then you can begin talking. And once you are finished, press the microphone button again so that it will stop receiving your voice and it will no longer be enabled. Something to note is that you need to speak clearly and at a normal volume and pace. And in order to add punctuation, you can use some of the following phrases. And these are going to be the key words and phrases to keep in your mind. Period, comma, exclamation point, question mark, new line, new paragraph, etc. So really keep it down to those key words and try to be very clear when you're communicating with the software, since if you say an entire sentence, it may pick up as that to be what you're wanting it to write. So just really stick to these keywords. Using voice commands. As you are typing, you can also use voice commands in order to edit as well as format your document, which is something super important for writing on Google Docs, keeping those paragraphs organized, and also it's really great to help you organize your thoughts as well. And an example of this is select paragraph or italics if you want to write in italics rather than normal font, or even go to the end of the line. So if you want to make an edit somewhere in the paragraph, you can tell it where to go. And these are all examples of commands that you can use with Google Docs voice recognition. The platform also has the ability to accept multiple languages if you want to switch from English or your main language to another one. And you simply have to click on the arrow that's right above the microphone icon. And then from there on the drop-down menu, you'll be able to choose whichever language you wish to speak in. So you can see here, this is a screenshot of the microphone. And if you look to the top right, there's a drop-down arrow. Next is voice dictation through Microsoft Word, which is another great document platform that many PC users use, and other device users as well. Google Docs is only one of the many applications that has voice dictation, but there are multiple others, and this includes both programs, apps, and websites that allow you to use speech-to-text tools and this gives a lot of users different platforms to choose from, which is super great. And there's a lot of well-known softwares and services that have this dictation software, and it's built in, so it's already there for you, just as it was for Google Docs. And another example, which is presented here, is Microsoft Word, which has a very similar setup and function. Microsoft Word has the exact same features and protocols, where to turn off the dictation, you just click back onto the microphone and then it will disable the microphone so it won't receive your voice anymore. Microsoft Word dictation also has the ability for you to use a wide range of languages. And you simply click on the downwards arrow that is located on the dictate button to choose which language you want to speak in. So it's very, very similar to Google Docs. You find it by going to the left-hand side, and then you can just drop down to see the different languages as well. All Microsoft products conveniently offer a voice dictation feature, which is incredible. And this includes Microsoft Teams if you're writing any notes for your meetings, Outlook email if you're trying to contact someone, Microsoft Office 365, and others. And they all have a very similar setup. And all of the applications, there can be slight differences in exactly how they look or the fine details of these options, but it is generally a very clear microphone and dictation button that you will have to go to use speech-to-text features. And here are a few examples of how to access this tool on different platforms. So for Office 365, you want to look to the top right-hand corner and go to dictate. And then for Microsoft Teams, you will go to the dictation tab at the top. It's to the far right. And then you can look at the microphone here. It says start speaking, and then from English to English. And then it will also allow you to have manual punctuation. So this Microsoft Teams allows you to make changes to how you want the punctuation to work. Manual punctuation, there may be an automatic punctuation option as well. So you can also explore those finer details and features to personalize them to you. Now we're going to go over how to enable and use voice dictation from the settings of your device, starting off with a Mac computer. So if you're on your Mac, you want to choose the Apple menu in the top corner, then go to System Preferences. Then from there, click on Keyboard, and then select Dictation and click On. Then a prompt may appear, and from there you want to click Enable Dictation. And this is exactly what I'm going to be going through in the live demonstration. So do not worry at all if you didn't completely pick up on these steps. But once you do know how, it's quite easy to just follow along and go into dictation and turn it on and off, which is very convenient. From there, you can choose which key shortcut will allow you to open the voice dictation option. There are a lot of different examples, including pressing the Control key twice, pressing the Function key twice, pressing the right command or left command key twice, or pressing either command key twice, or you can also customize it. But something to note is that you want it to be something that is kind of intentional. So you don't want it to just be one click because you may accidentally click it when you're typing. So make sure it's something that's maybe twice or two different buttons as well, just to make sure that it doesn't accidentally activate. But there are so many different options that you can use to just quickly enable it whenever you need. Then to use voice dictation in an actual application, you can select a text field first, and then you will use the chosen key shortcut that you selected in the dictation settings, just as it was shown on the previous slide. And then edit on the edit menu, and then you select Start Dictation. From there, you just speak to your Mac and the words you speak will start appearing in the text field. Then once you're done, you can simply click the Done button to ensure that you're finished. There's also the option to enable voice dictation from a Windows device as well, similar to the Mac. So in order to enable voice dictation and speech services on a Windows PC device, you want to click on the Start menu, and this is located in the bottom left-hand corner. And then from there, you want to go into your settings. To get to voice and dictation, click Time and Language, and then from there, click on Speech in the left navigation bar. The next step is to scroll down to the Speech, Inking, and Typing Privacy Settings item under Related Settings. So this one is a bit more complex. If you're very familiar with your Windows device, it may be simple for you, but I would for sure refer back to these slides just to go over these steps. But you do just have to find the speech, inking, and typing privacy settings once you're inside in order to get to dictation. After you select this specific section of the settings and privacy settings, you want to click the Turn On Speech Services and Typing Suggestions button in order to activate Cortana and speech recognition. You should have a microphone that works that is already connected to your PC at this point in order for this function to work properly. And in order to use speech dictation on a Windows 10, press the Windows key and the H key together at the same time. The Cortana system will then open up a little box and it will begin turning your words into text as you speak them into the microphone. So this is the voice dictation platform that it uses. It's called Cortana, and it will enable when you follow these steps. There's also the option to use voice dictation on a mobile device. On these devices, there's usually a microphone icon on the keyboard that you are typing on. By tapping this icon and then speaking, it will allow the device to pick up your voice, and then it will directly translate it to text in whatever writing software that you are using at that time. There are a few different options that it may look like depending on your device. So this one, for example, is taken from an iPhone or an iPad. If you're specifically on an iPhone, in order to access voice dictation from your keyboard, you want to go to Settings, then General, and then Keyboard, and then you can select the Enable Dictation option. So these screenshots are really great for isolating the different sections you need to go through to get to the final enabling of dictation. So you go to General, Keyboard, and then you want to make sure that this toggle is turned on, and you'll know it's on when it is green.
Voice dictation on mobile for Android. To enable voice dictation on Android devices, keyboard, go to Settings, Language, and Input, and Language, or Google Voice Typing. Ensure that the item Google Voice Typing has a check mark. If it doesn't, then touch that item to activate Google Voice Typing. Note that this process may be different on different versions of Android and may not be available on some. Voice dictation on mobile Gboard. Another great option for mobile users is using the free Gboard app. This app is a Google designed keyboard that works with both iOS and Android and will pop up automatically whenever you are about to type. Gboard includes voice dictation as well as a clean and easy design. How to set up Gboard. First, you must install the free Gboard app from the App Store, iOS, or Google Play Store for Android. Next, go to your phone settings and select the Keyboards tab. Once you're here, select Add a new keyboard. From there, select Gboard from the list and it will automatically be added to your keyboards. Now, number 5. Now when you type, you should have a globe or a keyboard icon on the bottom left or right corner of your screen. It depends on the device you're using. Select this. We'll show you the multiple keyboards you have, and from here you can select Gboard to use it. To allow for the full experience and availability, go back to your settings under the keyboard tab where you were before. From the settings, select Gboard from the list of your keyboards. After you have selected Gboard, turn on the slider asking for full access. This will allow Gboard to use dictation and other services, giving you a detailed and complete keyboard. To make Gboard your default keyboard, the keyboard that will show up automatically so you don't have to switch it is a simple process as well. How to make Gboard default keyboard on your iPhone. First, on Apple devices, tap Settings again, then General, then Keyboard, and then go to Keyboards. At the top right, tap Edit, then touch and hold Reorder.
All right, so I will go ahead and skip forward to the live demo since our volunteers are unfortunately having connection issues today. And then when we go into breakout rooms, if you have more questions about anything that you didn't quite catch or that you'd like to repeat, our mentors will be happy to go over it again for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick demo of how to enable dictation services on a Mac computer. And I will also provide a link to a helpful website for those of you who use Windows instead and want to know how to do that. All right. Okay, just give me a nod or a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Great. So on a Mac computer, the first thing you are going to want to do, as mentioned in the presentation, is open up your system preferences. This is the settings app for Mac computers. And once it is open, you will see many different setting options. And the one you want to go to is the one that says keyboard right here. If you ever have trouble finding what you're looking for in system preferences, you can also use the search bar here at the top with the magnifying glass to type in what it is you're looking for, in this case, dictation, and it will show you how to get there. So once we've opened up the keyboard settings, we see a few different options, and the one we want to click on is at the very right side, says dictation. From here, it tells us a little bit about what dictation does. Use dictation wherever you can type text. To start dictating, use the shortcut or select Start Dictation from the Edit menu. So at the moment, it is already on, so we can leave it on. If you have not yet enabled it, it would be off. You can turn it off if you would like. It just provides a little pop-up to confirm your choice. And then whenever you want to turn it back on, you simply flip it over again and again confirm by clicking Enable Dictation. You can choose which language you want to dictate in. I believe there are many different languages offered by Apple. So if you want to speak in a language that is other than English, you have a lot of options to select. And then you can also choose which shortcut works best for you. A reminder that a shortcut is just a combination of keys that you press to perform some kind of action that is a lot shorter than having to use your mouse to click on different things. So the automatic one is press the control key twice. There are a few different options as well if you prefer using a different key or a different combination of keys, but for now we're going to leave it. And for those of you who are a bit confused about the control key, it is just one of the keys on your keyboard that is at the bottom left. On my keyboard, it is in between the function and the option or alt keys, but depending on your keyboard layout, it might be slightly different. So now that we have dictation set up, we can give it a try on some other kind of program. So let's try it on a Google slide, for example. So let's say I want to add a title to this slide, but I'm having trouble seeing, or my hands are sore and I don't want to type. So I'm going to go ahead and open up dictation. If you remember from before, the shortcut is pressing the control key twice. So I'm going to do that now. Hello, my name is Carly. And as you can see, it took a second, but it did type out the words that I just said, although it spelt my name wrong. And that is something to keep in mind as well. If you're using, proper nouns or names, it might not do the correct spelling of the name. And there may be times where you have to check through it to see if there are any errors before you complete the message. So this is it working in Google Slides. It should also work in any other application or website that has a text field on your computer. So if I was to open up an email and write an email this way, let's try it again, writing an email. Hi, how are you today? We are in a Cyber Seniors webinar. We are learning a lot about voice dictation. And then pressing done when you're finished. And there we are. So yes, you press the done button when you want it to stop recording and picking up your voice. And so as you can see, it is important to include punctuation when you're using voice dictation, because at the moment, it's just one long run-on sentence. So let's try again, and this time use punctuation and actually say when we want to add a comma or a period. Hi, comma, how are you today? Question mark. We are in a Cyber Seniors webinar, exclamation point. And now it is much more grammatically correct since we have added the punctuation. In some cases, you can also perhaps say smiley face and it will come up with a smiley face emoji. So you just have to be very precise with when you're using it, with what you tell it to do and to add into your text. But as you can see, as long as you speak clearly and tell it when to use punctuation, it should come out quite accurately. And that concludes today's webinar. Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you for listening.